Hi, welcome to Recap Nation. Today, we're going to recap a 2019 movie called Spies in Disguise, so sit back and enjoy. The movie begins with a young boy named Walter who is trying to deactivate something that looks like a bomb. In reality, he is just carrying out an experiment on his new gadget. His mom enters the room and discovers that he has used her phone for the experiment. As she is about to get angry, he deactivates his glitter bomb, which makes people happy. His mom tells him to get ready for school, and he tells her that he hates school because it's boring and the kids think he is weird. His mom encourages him and tells him that one day the world will need his type of weirdness and that his gadgets will save the world. 14 years later, we saw the world's greatest spy, Lance Sterling, sent to recover an attacked drone, the M9 assassin, from Japanese arms dealer named Katsuki Mora. As soon as he is about to hand over the weapon to the buyer, who is a cybernetic-enhanced terrorist named Killian, Sterling breaks in against the orders of his director, Joy Jenkins. He takes out several groups of Kimura in different skillful ways. As Killian was about to leave with the weapon, Sterling demanded that he hand over the case, but Kimura attacks Sterling and was defeated with only a blow. He then asks Killian to hand over the case, but knowing that he is not going to get it without a fight, he launches the first attack. But Killian was not just an ordinary man, and Sterling was able to defend himself. As they are about to engage in a serious fight, the whole place is surrounded by Kimura's gangs, which gives Killian the opportunity to escape with the weapon. As Sterling saw that he was surrounded and Killian was getting away, he used Walter's gadget thinking it's a bomb, but to his surprise it's only a glitter bomb. They got distracted, and Sterling used his fighting skills to defeat most of them and launch himself out of the basement, jumping through Killian's helicopter to retrieve the weapon. He successfully gets away with the weapon. Sterling returns to his headquarters in Washington, where everybody praises him for his successful mission. He went straight to confront Walter because he felt dissatisfied with his gadget. As he enters Walter's office, he complains to him that his weapons are not working the way they are supposed to. Walter explains to Sterling and tries to convince him that instead of using bombs and grenades, there is another, more peaceful way to save the world. But Sterling fires him before he can finish explaining his latest invention. Sterling heads over to the office of the director, named Joy Jenkins, and hands over the briefcase containing the M9 weapon to her. But unfortunately, she discovers the briefcase to be empty. Immediately, a security forces agent named Marcy Capel enters with her team and tells the director that it was Sterling who stole the weapon. She proves it by showing footage of what looks like Sterling escaping with the weapon, labeling him as the traitor. But the truth is, it was Killian, the terrorist, who disguised himself as Sterling to frame him. Sterling tries to explain that it was a setup, but the security agent tries to arrest him and puts a handcuff on him. He immediately triggers an explosion to help him escape. After his escape, Sterling's only option now is to track the residence of Kimura so he can find and kill Killian to spare his name. So he decides to track down Walter to help him create a gadget that will make him disappear. Walter always stays with his pet pigeon Luvi after the death of his mother, leaving Walter alone. He uses the feather of his pigeon, Luvi, which helps him discover the perfect formula for disappearing technology. Walter was so excited that suddenly Sterling appeared in Walter's house, telling him he needed to disappear. As Walter was asking him what to offer him, he immediately grabbed the formula and drank it. Walter freaked out and told Sterling that he had drunk a chemical formula that would turn him into a pigeon in 45 seconds. Sterling didn't believe him and thought Walter was wasting his time. As he decided to take his leave, he began to feel unusual and thought Walter had poisoned him for getting him fired. After some periods of unusual feelings and pains, he finally transformed into a pigeon. After that, he begged Walter to turn him back into a human, but it was unfortunate that Walter didn't have the antidote. To make matters worse, Walter told him that he called the agency and told them that he was there, unaware that Sterling was a fugitive. Walter began to explain to Sterling that a terrorist named Killian was trying to frame him, and he must track him down and kill him in time to clear his name before it is too late. And he also begged for Walter's assistance. As Sterling struggled to adjust to his new form, Walter assured him that being a pigeon could make him an even better spy. The agents invaded Walter's house and chased the two through the city, but they managed to make an escape in Sterling's spy car. And they started planning their next mission. They arrived in Mexico City after tracking Kimura and discovering where he lived. They arrived at the hotel where Kimura had been staying. Walter informed Sterling that he need not worry about being discovered as he was now a pigeon and could sneak past Kimura's gangs undetected. As Sterling tried to get Kimura's key from the front desk, some pigeons kept messing things up for him. When one of the hotel attendants saw him, she hit him hard and threw him in the trash. Fortunately, one of the pigeons managed to swallow the card and spit it out for Sterling. As Walter tried to follow him, Sterling told him not to, for he would handle the mission by himself. Sterling jumped into the elevator to take him to Kimura's room. When he arrived, he tried to attack Kimura as before but found out that he was not as strong as a bird. As Kimura was about to smash Sterling, Walter arrived and used his gadget to cause temporary paralysis on Kimura. He sprinkled a truth serum on him, making him confess the whereabouts of Killian, the terrorist. When they noticed that Marcy and Hartine were at the door, they ran to the window to escape without being caught. Walter fell as he tried to use the balcony and used a hook to reach the ground. The agents surrounded them, and Walter tried to use his scientific pen against them. But one of the birds eventually swallowed the pen, resulting in the bird shooting a gum substance at them. Sterling and Walter took that opportunity to escape. Sterling and Walter were able to make it to Venice, where Killian, the terrorist, was, as Kimura had told them. As they were about to get out of the boat to enter the building, Mercy and Harding showed up and tried to convince Walter to tell them the whereabouts of Sterling. She reminded him of how his mom had been a devoted car member and the sacrifice she made for her fellow car members. But Walter rejected her request. As they were talking, there was an explosion in the building. Mercy put handcuffs on Walter and ran into the building with Hartine to find out what was going on. But Sterling freed Walter and ran into the building too. Killian was able to use the M9 weapon to get a database. The M9 weapon was too strong to stop, and the only option was for Sterling to fly and get the database from the M9 weapon. But he was scared. Finally, Walter pushed him off the top of the building to make him fly. As he was falling, he was assisted in flying by two other pigeons. They were able to fly to the weapon and retrieve the database. They caught up with Walter, and as they were about to leave, Killian knocked Walter down. As he was about to kill him, Walter threw bird crumbs on him, attracting thousands of pigeons. Walter and Sterling took that opportunity to escape, leaving Killian with the database. After the flock of pigeons had left, Mercy and Hartine arrived and asked Killian to surrender. He fully changed his face to that of Sterling's and caused the M9 weapon to come from behind them, allowing him to escape. Walter and Sterling get into a submarine to reach Killian's location. Along the way, Walter manages to perfect the antidote after Sterling lays an egg and successfully turns Sterling back into a human. When they finally arrive at Killian's hideout, Sterling asks Walter to go back, as he is taking it alone from there. However, Walter refuses and wants to help. Sterling tranquilizes the stubborn Walter, worried he'd get hurt, and sends him away in the submarine. Once inside, Sterling confronts Killian but is defeated and captured by him. Killian reveals that he has produced hundreds of attack drones and uses the database to target everyone at the agency. Killian plans to destroy everything and everyone Sterling cares about as revenge for Sterling and the agency killing his people long ago. Suddenly, Killian receives a notification about an incoming submarine, which means Walter is returning to help Sterling. Killian sends two drones to destroy the sub, forcing Sterling to watch. As Sterling sees the explosion on the water, he is heartbroken, thinking that Walter has been killed. When Killian sends his drones to terminate the whole agency, Walter shows up unbeknownst to them. Walter survives with one of his inventions, the inflatable huge bubble. Sterling apologizes to Walter for looking down on him, and they both reconcile. Walter frees Sterling, and they contact Marcy and a few agents for assistance. Sterling catches up with Killian, and as they engage in face-to-face combat, Marcy arrives and apologizes to Sterling after knowing that he is innocent. They both battle Killian's backup drones while Walter discreetly tries to hack into Killian's bionic arm, which controls the drones. Meanwhile, the drones find the agency hideout, and as the director is trying to lead her agents to safety, the drones have already trapped them all. During the battle, Killian discovers Walter's plan and tries to flee with a drone, but Walter catches up. They both fly into the sky, and Walter is able to hack into Killian's arm. As he discovers that Killian will die during the process, Walter risks his life by trapping Killian in one of the protective gadgets he is supposed to use to save himself in the sky while he falls and deactivates the drones. As Sterling sees Walter falling from the sky, he has no option but to turn himself back into a pigeon again using Walter's experiment that he found in his bag. He flies for the first time with the help of other pigeons and carries Walter to safety. Marcy discovers Sterling as a pigeon, and Killian is found trapped inside the huge inflatable bubble and is arrested. Despite saving the world, Sterling and Walter are fired for disobedience as agents. As they are spending time together, they are both caught and thrown into a van, but it's just a plan by Mercy and Joy. They want them to lead a new team, as they were impressed by Walter's gadgets. Sterling and Walter are reinstated and become partners, continuing to save the world without too much violence. Thanks for watching this video. Please support our channel by liking and subscribing.